what is the most important and greatest aspect, well, of all our aspects of our life? What's the most important aspect of our lives? What is the the greatest and the most important aspect of our life? Freedom says, Fabian, let's say you're free and you're on an island with yourself. How free are you? You're just by yourself. Okay, you might have Wilson with you. All right. What's the point if you're free, if you're the only person on the planet? I want you to think about that. What's the point of having a sense of joy if you're the only person on the planet? Connection, saying Kevin. Connection with who? With life. All right? So our greatest and most important aspects of our lives, guys, is our relationships. So my question to you is, what boosts and supercharges your relationships? Because we do life relating to other people. With our kids, it's a relationship. With our partners, it's a relationship. Sure, there's times that we need to be with ourselves and recharge, and me time is important. But I want you to understand, me time is important. For what purpose? So you can recharge to then come back and have a better quality relationship. You think about it. Could you live life 100% me time? That's the challenge today with lockdown, correct? People are, especially if you're on your own. If you've got people in your home and you've got family, it's a different thing. You'll probably want me time afterwards. You're happy to swap any time, me time with anyone who has it up by themselves. A lot of people say, I want to swap places. I'll come to your apartment at Cronulla right on the beach and you come and look after my kids, all right? Well, you come and sleep with my husband, look after him. I want the apartment, right? So ultimately, it's relationships which are the greatest aspects of our lives. So I want you to think about what can boost the quality of your relationship. What can supercharge the quality of your interactions? Would you want a deeper connection, which is the word that Kevin used, with your relationships, the people in your life, your friends, starting with yourself, of course, your friends, your kids, your siblings. Because I can tell you, no matter what you go through in life and the challenges that we may experience and the emotional stuff that we hold on to, and let's just talk family stuff, right? Let's say sibling stuff. We all got sibling stuff, right? So you could be holding on to sibling stuff for a long time. And I can guarantee you just have one conversation with a sibling and everything collapses. And you think, wow, that's something special to be able to reconnect with a sibling. And then you wonder, why did you hold on to all that stuff? Am I making any sense for anyone? I'm just telling you my story this week with my sister. You know, we've had some great conversations like, wow, you know, so why have we made more of an effort? Interesting question, isn't that right? Because we all want deeper connections. We all want people to, well, to share with. So what's the thing that's going to help you supercharge? With your kids, what do you want to be able to bring a better quality relationship? To have a better quality relationship with your kids, you need to have influence and persuasion, guys. You can't have a better relationship unless you have influence and persuasion. Now, that's not manipulation. People think, oh, is this manipulation stuff you're going to call? Is this selling stuff and manipulating? How do you influence and persuade your kids? Through your actions, through what you stand up for, your values, the way you speak, holding yourself accountable, being a role model. That's how you persuade. It's not getting them to do something you want for yourself for your own intention. Because any word in the English language, I suppose, change the intention behind using that word will have a different intention, correct? Influence and persuasion with a different intention might mean different. But we're talking about here, how can you create a better quality connection with your relationships. You need to have the intention to influence that relationship. How? With positivity, to influence with intentionality, to influence with purposefulness, to persuade with your energy, to persuade with your vibration, to persuade what you stand up for. Am I making any sense there, guys? Because that's what we're talking about, influence and persuasion, by being the person that other people aspire to be. In fact, maybe we need to become the people that we want to hang around with. And all the qualities we see in other people that we like, or we would want to experience, are maybe the qualities we need to amplify within ourselves. Who wants to hang around more happy people? Who likes hanging around unhappy people? Who likes hanging around people who are just, doomsdayers? I mean, you might hang around to attempt to help them, but ultimately, if you stay there, they'll just drain your energy. Isn't that right? So you think about, if you want to hang around a happy person, if you want to hang around a positive person, you want to hang around a person that thinks about the future and gets you thinking about moving forward, a person that encourages you, a person that highlights your positive qualities as opposed to just focusing on the negative qualities about you. A person that is a wind between underneath your wings as opposed to someone who's clipping your wings. If they're the people you want to hang around, I'm here to tell you they're the things you need to amplify within yourself. Because if you want to be around those people, you need to become those people. Hey, Gia, great to have you here. Love the beanie. Right. So here's what we're going to be talking about. So what this coaching session tonight is, our goal for this session is to gauge how persuasive and influential you felt in your relationships, in your career, and to give you a few tools that may raise the level of effectiveness in these areas. Would that be helpful for you? Let's first start with some definitions, because we're talking about influence, we're talking about persuasion, and some people think it's manipulation. So it's probably good to maybe define these. Do you think so? Let's use an extended quote. It's not my definition, it's someone else's definition. I read a book once. It was called a dictionary. And the dictionary said this, right? The Oxford Dictionary, influence, a definition for influence: the capacity or power of persons or things to be a compelling force on or produce effects on the actions, behavior, and opinions of others. Now, the capacity or power of persons or things, a compelling force. Now, what's missing from that statement? Is that compelling force a positive force or a negative force? Because today we see a lot of influence, capacity and power of persons or things producing certain effects on the masses. Isn't that right? They're very influential. That's influence. What's the intent behind the influence, though? I'm not going to question the tools and tactics. They're brilliant. But what's the intent behind it? Imagine using those tools and tactics for good. Am I making any sense there? Who uses the tools and tactics? You do. People say, I knew it. This is manipulative. I knew what's this NLP stuff? It's sales, it's manipulation. Really? Because I know a lot of people who haven't done NLP, haven't done this coaching, and are manipulative. So is it the coaching and NLP that's manipulative, or the people that use the tool? It's the people that use the tool. So you got to search within your heart what your intent is when you're having a conversation with someone. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. You want to change your conversations and be more influential? What's the intent behind the conversation? Think about the purpose and intent and direct your language to a specific outcome. Know the outcome. Number one, your conversations will change. As opposed to be reactive, they're going to be resourceful. And you know that you might be having 4 or 5 conversations to get to a certain outcome, all planned. That's manipulative. People say, no, it's intentional for the highest good. We're setting the intention to get to an outcome that we all want. Because if it didn't want it, we wouldn't be here. So what's influence for you? So think about that. Given that's a definition of influence, what is it for you? And how do you exercise it in your career? How do you exercise it at home? How do you exercise it with your kids? I might ask Mag how she exercises it with her kids. How does she exercise the influence with Fran and Susanna? That could be a different course, right? Right? Okay. There's the WOG way, and there's another way, right? And sometimes we just stick to what we know best. Persuasion. What's persuasion? An action or process of persuading someone or being persuaded to believe something. So it's part of influence. You can't persuade someone if you're not influencing them. And what's the intent? If you're wanting to get them to believe something, for what purpose? Are you getting to believe for your benefit or for their benefit? And if it is for their benefit, according to whom? Do you believe it's their benefit? Who made you judge of what's important in their life? Because I'm sure you wouldn't like people telling you what should be important in your life. Interestingly, we take a different point of view of things, isn't that right? Everyone's entitled to their point of view. Everyone's entitled to their choices. Not everyone drives the same car. You know, I was thinking about that. I was in a chat with a friend the other day. Well, still not a large chat with one of these posts that we put on Facebook about the jab and like one's safe and what isn't safe, and one vaccine's more safe than the other vaccine, or is the vaccine safe? And I said, okay, hold on a second. We don't all drive the same car. True. We all have different cars. So we choose different cars, don't we? And it is a known fact that some cars are more safer than other cars, correct? So do we jump up and down when people choose unsafe cars? I don't know. Is it okay for people to choose a car, whether it's safe or not, and give them the opportunity to choose? But it's not okay for someone to choose something else, whether it's deemed safe or not. It's interesting, yeah? Because I can probably show you more people die on the road with cars than whatever this thing is out there. And of course, to think about that, what's persuasion to you? Is it part of influence? And the last word we want to have a look at is manipulation. What's manipulation? Because initially, manipulation, the Western world has hijacked that term and given it like, you know, well, for your own benefit and all that type of stuff. Manipulation really was to artfully persuade someone and influence them, which was a craft. But now it's deemed that if you've done that, you're doing it for your own benefit, not someone else's. So it's almost like sinister, right? So here's manipulation: to control or play upon by artful, unfair, and insidious. Now, the unfair and insidious was not part of the original definition of manipulation. Manipulation was an art of influencing people, and influence is to be able to change their thoughts, opinions, and actions. But in the Western world today, manipulation is attached to unfair, insidious, harming people. And that's the context that when people think of someone is sharing a message with them that they don't agree with, they automatically feel they've been manipulated. Especially when some of their values are being challenged, values of freedom, values of choice, values of making my own decision. So as soon as we feel that we're being put in a corner, we feel we're being manipulated. And it's not that we're being manipulated, it's just that we feel our values have been violated. The only reason there's been an uproar out there in the community is people's values are being violated. No one's talking about values. No one's sitting down having a conversation saying, you know what? Obviously, this is important to you. Tell me more. Why is that important to you? What does that mean? Because we're making those decisions based on our past experiences. And maybe people are holding on to a specific value and specific meaning because of their experience in life. And if we knew what they experienced, we might have a different perspective on maybe why they held that view. Is that possible, you think? But yeah, we jumped the gun. We hop on our noble high horse. Because our horse is the most noble one. It's the white one and it's got wings. My horse is called Pegasus, right? It might even be a unicorn that I'm riding. Because the other side doesn't have those horses. So if they're the definitions, here's what I'm going to ask you. I want you to think about now, we're going to think about our life, because influence, persuasion creates change, guys. If you want to create change in life, you want to learn the art of influence and persuasion. Where does that come from? Because it's all about you and the person that you are when you're having that conversation. So I want you to think about in the last 4 weeks. Now, this is our self-assessment. In the last 4 weeks, rate your influence on a scale of 1 to 10. Just put in the chat. Let's see how you go. There's no right or wrong. Someone's 1 could be someone else's 10. Someone's 7 could be someone else's 4. But let's see some numbers. Let's get some numbers in the chat. Rate your influence. Where's your influence been from 1 to 10? Maya saying a 2. Mag saying I love Harleys. Okay. Jard is being a 9 for influence. Okay. Good. Then you'll probably have a conversation with me tomorrow. Saying, sounds like you spoke to your mother. All right. Kevin saying my capacity to influence or being influenced. Your capacity to influence. A good question. So it's a clarifying question. So your capacity to influence, whether being a teacher or with your friends or with family, career or friends, just as a general. And it could be different in different areas, but how would you rate yourself? Anu's saying a 6, Michael a 3, Fabian a 7, Kevin an 8. Now, there's no I'm better than someone else. This is just an arbitrary number. But my question to you is this, because this is the high performance question, right? This is how we help people change. Well, what are 3 things that you can do tomorrow that'll help you move the needle from your 8 to 8.5, from your 7 to 7.5? What are 3 things that you haven't done before? 3 new things. And that's the question as a coach. If you're a high performance coach, any type of coach, that's the question. When you're talking to someone and they come up with a measure of what they're doing, you say, okay, what are 3 new things that you can do tomorrow that you haven't done before, just to move the needle, whatever you're assessing from wherever you are, just a little bit? What are 3 things that you can do? Write them down. Good idea. Write them down. Just write them down. Because as soon as you write them down, you anchor them. So what are 3 things, guys? 3 things that you can do without going through this program, but 3, just in the beginning, what are 3 things that you think you could do that could move the needle for you tomorrow? Go from an 8 to 8.5, a 6 to 6.5, a 3 to a 3.5. What are 3 new things? And write that on a piece of paper, because automatically those 3 new things give you something to look forward to tomorrow, don't they? You're starting to be purposeful and living intentionally. And say, okay, these 3 new things, where would I introduce them? Would that be in my family? Would it be with my kids? I'm going to be intentional to do 3 new things with my kids tomorrow. I'm going to be intentional to do 3 new things with my partner tonight or tomorrow. Now, if you think I'm talking to you, you're probably correct. I'm talking to you. We're always talking to someone in the room or everyone. How would that move the needle for you? Next question. How persuasive have you been? When you think about the conversations that you had with people and getting your message across or your point of view across or getting your kids to do something or getting your partner to do something, and not for the point of because you want it. The intent is to improve the quality of the connection. How persuasive have you been or influential to improve the quality of the connection between you and the other people that you're thinking of? Because Tony Robbins says, if you want a better quality relationship in any area in your life, whatever type of ship it is, the magnifying glass has to be outwards. It has to be about them. It's about serving other people. And that has to be from you as a serving mentality, not that you are letting go of your needs and you're feeling that you are got an empty cup. You need to work on yourself to come from a serving mentality, be there for someone else. And when you make it about others, then you'll have a better connection. Next question. As you think of that score, whatever you rate yourself, why are you at that number? Why are you at an 8, Kevin? Why are you at a 7, Fabian? Why are you at a 6, Anu? Why are you at a 3, Michael? What are the obstacles that you are choosing to focus on to stop you being an 8.5? You got to put yourself in that frequency, in that vibration, guys, and life changes. Would you want to be around a 3? Would you want to be around a 6? Would you want to be around a 7? Would you want to be around people that lift you higher? You'd want to be around people who are vibrating higher than you. But let me ask you the question, would they want to be around you though? So you're chasing them and then running away from you. As opposed to attracting each other. Right. And the last question here, what would you need to do that you know that you should be doing to move that number up a few notches? So there's things that you know you could be doing and should be doing, yeah? I mean, you know where you're falling back with your influence and your persuasion. You know what your obstacle is, why you're an 8 or a 7 or a 6 or a 3. And you know what you should be doing. You're not doing it though. So what are those things? See, when you think about influence and persuasion, it's not about influence and persuasion. Influence and persuasion is not the problem. You know what the problem is? Most people tend to influence and persuade other people with a mask on. So I want you to think about this. If they're buying someone who's not you, what happens when they find out who you are? So what the problem is, in my opinion, is authenticity is the problem. My question to you is, are you being real? Are you being your truth? Are you wearing a mask? A personality mask, right? Do you feel you need to be someone else to get your point across and be heard? Big question. Do you compromise yourself in order to get your view across? Do you compromise your needs? Because then you're not being yourself, correct? So you're being someone else to influence. That's manipulation. You think about that. What if you can be your truth, speak your truth, be who you are, no filters? And be okay with the yes, or people accept you or not, then who do you need to be in order to be more influential and persuasive? So my question to you is, who do you need to be that you are not now to be more persuasive and influential? Because you know what? Influence persuasion is people taking on your point of view, people buying you. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Simon Sinek, right? People buy you. So who are you not being right now if you're not influencing to the level you want to influence right now? If you're not influencing your kids, who are you not being to your kids? If you're not influencing your partner, and I'm not talking about manipulation, but I'm talking about if you're not influencing with energy and positivity and raising the vibration of that connection and that bond, who are you not being is a question.